So it's already quite an interesting situation when there's normalized child abuse and you're one of the ones screaming, hey, the only takeaway really is these people did this child abuse. While all the professionals, not just this Childress and Maddie Anti-Alienation Project, which I finally finished the whole thing, and I'm at the edge of my chair. I'm not even sure which channel to make this video for, right? Because I came out and did kind of a shotgun truth program where Childress actually says in his presentation at Marco 129, 1 hour, 29 minutes, that targeted parents should hold whatever emotional stuff they've got for later, right? To be solution oriented. Well, I've been very solution oriented. I've had all the solutions. But one thing that I've understood is there's an active evil intelligence at play here, and they are going to slyly sabotage any legitimate plans as if they didn't do anything wrong, right? But the reunification of us and her without the understanding of who she truly is and what has truly happened would be inauthentic anyway. Just as Dr. Childress put, hey, look, man. No, aqui, acá. Right? So, my whole thing is to come to people real, to come to people raw, to come to people lifetime, to come to people from the heart, and everything that I do. I have been married to hard truth. I want the hard truth. If you are my corner man and I'm taking shots in a spot and you refrain to tell me that, why would you refrain to tell me? Please don't refrain to tell me that. You're there for that reason. I need the good teammate to be his best, pay good attention. I'm hoping the only reason you wouldn't be telling me that information is because you were distracted by some pretty girl. But that in itself means you don't care enough to be your best, to really focus, to really operate under pressure when we need you. That's a baby boo-boo entry step into my little alternative agriculture crew. And I talk about alternative agriculture all the time because it's all around everyone, everywhere in the world. And it's a place that you can go, eat great food, and be in nature and get away for a minute. I should clarify that, right? And I think that everybody, my biggest prescription in my psychology fun channel, my amateur psychology channel, where I actually do have, unfortunately, 35 years of clinical psychology observation, clinical psychology in motion, observed that close, right? And I've dug into them, a prodigy of psychology where the psychiatrists with PhDs were saying, this guy is smarter than any of his psychologists, right? I don't think that's true anymore. Also in part because of the bunch of drugs they gave me back then, like Haldol and all this stuff, that have given me features now that are used in deploy, crazy, right? That are used in deploy to justify child abuse. So my child abuse now are somehow, right? Also, please know that anytime I talk about this subject, man, it's a fucking hardest subject to talk about. It's the hardest thing to go through. Anyone talking about this subject that's why, Maddie's amazing because, she's become an excellent orator explaining eloquently these insane things that traditionally, that for years, we've had a hard time explaining to anyone. I get pierced because I'm just thinking, what? Anyone who steps in front of a parent-child relationship is a piece of shit. And that's true, especially as a highly manipulative, personalized, he didn't do anything to the kid. He left you. What Childress says is completely true. These kids who hate one parent, it's because of child abuse. Either from that one parent that they hate, or because this person has forced this narrative with all these flying monkeys. They have to have flying monkeys who verify. This is a huge, scandalous setup. And everyone who was involved, this is why I'm saying, Also, like if you're on a find the truth venture, not just go to nature, but you cannot watch Netflix. A lot, how they say child abuse, physical child abusers, a lot of them have porn issues, and that's where it evolved from. A lot of psychological and emotional child abusers have TV addictions. My mother had the TV addiction, and these people watched this fanatical kidnapping show as they did a fanatical kidnapping, as if they were in the right, just like there was kidnapping on this show. It's fucking crazy, but I don't myself, I'm very, very limited with the amount of this electronic screen shit going on around me, and I have several places that I go to on a regular basis that do not have those systems. And obviously there's control freaks in the world, and they exploit a lot of systems, family court being one of them. But if they could slyly trick us, it would be the segment of population, as Childress also explains, that is just narcissistic. They're narcissistic, deceptive control freaks. They're modeled after what we know of the devil. That is really what's going on here. And they're parasitic, and they're highly manipulative. Chase Hughes, the master of the psyop, says, I wrote the book on this. I wrote several books on this. I train military personnel on this and everything, and I still get caught. I think that's very, very, these people who donate all their talent points into the presentation are going to have to lack on skill for that. And once it becomes extremely out of balance, you can almost be, this is an incredibly eloquent individual, but but there's other examples where no, I'm a part of what I believe to be the most powerful online university, and it's in my master link. A link to that is in my master link of helpful links. And I've learned a lot in that university, and these people could also be framed as absolute front-end GQ face piece. Mouth sounder guys, right? But they've got the action behind it, and they come from the hood. And I'm never gonna like anyone all the way. I have a fingerprint, right? We're gonna be different. If I'm following anyone all the way, I'll be concerned about me, okay? If I'm just copying, if this person speaks and it is gospel every time, I am a robot, Hopefully not a sad, like Austin Power type anything to complete this other unfortunate, evil, scheming, shitty, stupid douchebag thing. Hopefully not, But even worse is if I was in that situation and did not know it. Imagine that. So this is why this is why everyone says, including Dr. Phil, that this is the ultimate form of child abuse, because you're actually reaching in with a metaphysical appendage, and you were violating them with the intentions of making them a weapon for hate. Not pleasure for you in the sense that they will hate their other parent. That's fucking disgusting. I could never do that. I could never be near that. If it was going on, and this is a true statement, someone tried to do this. Someone tried to bring one of these kidnapped kids into my home. It's crazy. My friend's ex-girlfriend. And then she went out in the world and lied on me, right? And said all this bullshit about me. Of course, because they all do. It's Amber Heard syndrome. It's Amber Heard syndrome, and the TV surely propagates it. It's a cycle. Parents propagate it. And this kid's poor case, her mother has it. The two grandmothers have it. And if they, and they've been able to whip very weak, just ride through life, sucking whatever government tit they can get into their mouth. Dudes who don't talk or do anything or recognize child abuse or stand up for it. In fact, they enable it because they have no life and they're watching the Netflix with them. It's all going on the big screen living room TV. And listen, back when I was a young person, because of a TV addiction to soap operas, I endured just the most horrific spectrum anyone could call it, too. Anyone could figure, oh shit. Now, if anyone finds out my history, They're like, oh shit, that's how serial killers are made. And that's true. I said this in my last video. We'll see where this goes channel-wise. But you're going to come out of a child abuse situation being an abuser. You're going to come out with, like Elizabeth Smart, like, just fucking, I'm deleting this from my history. Leave me the fuck alone. Or you're going to come out this like the Alaskan Avenger. No one is doing this shit to no more kids ever again, right? Hope if I have something to say about it, like, so I'm proud that I came out this valiant warrior prototype, warrior of goodness prototype. It's super shitty and shameful that I've been standing on the sidelines screaming exactly what this is, and an entire Jerry Springer people, and this is what they share. They share their motorcycle riding, their beer drinking, their drunkenness. That's all that there is on fucking, you go to my thing and you'll see me looking out for tons of kids all the time. My dad was this way, my uncle was this way, we've all been this way. We're a continuation of the cycle too. What's up? You know what I mean? But I promise you, like, anyone who's guilty of child abuse, I'm going to try to air them out in any legal way that I can, to where, you know, I'm not doing anything against the laws of society. And I've proven that in the thickest of it. You know what I mean? And I'm not dangerous, and I don't believe in violence. In fact, it was this violence using the little kid, I have to say, like, that has forever changed. I made a very solid decision at that point. While these people become absolute child abusing liars, I will become the most valiant, truth-telling, hardcore dude you've ever fucking seen. And I'm sure they wanted me to shut up and never make a video and never become that and die like I did, like my friend Aaron Roberts did, like I keep talking about, you know. I think that these people need to be seen and revered, and are the most disgusting human beings in the world. Anyone, I mean, it's just shocking. It's just shocking, like, whoa. You know, it's shocking every day that my mother's just like, fuck, man, you know, into her 70s. It's not like, yo, that shit that I did to you was foul as fuck. And lying to you about who your real father was, and what about my dad? Like, she doesn't give a fuck. This guy's finding out I'm not his biological son. What about you taking him to the fucking cleaners? You know what I'm saying? And here's another thing. The parents of the girl I had a kid with, they saw me out in the hoods of Albuquerque, New Mexico, living with this trash piled up in the fucking front yard, family. They knew that mother was never a mother to me. But they've engaged in this thing. This guy had his son alienated from him. He knows exactly what it is, but he went and participated in this. How the fuck do you do that? And that's what I'm saying. You either become a child abuser, it's too much for your senses and you're just like, whatever, or you stand against it. And all those people are child abusers. And you're in this poor child is in this melting pot, this cooking pot of child abuse, where everybody pretty much knows that there's some shady, ornery shit, but they're all signed up to it. And the kid probably, maybe to a certain degree too, because what the fuck else are you gonna do? Especially when you've had all your wings clipped, you nudged into this very self-defeating, self-sabotaging situation where you're always going to be the life raft for this other codependent piece of shit person who would use a kid that way. It's a fucked up thing, but only a weak doesn't deserve any respect or will not go anywhere in life, will remain in that situation. You have to get out of that situation. You have to study. The people who are around to continue saying that what I'm saying is not true, you're all child abusers on steroids. There's someone actively telling the truth and actively trying to expose this and actively saying, get this kid the information, get him a real psychiatrist who understands, get him on a plane, because reconnection is the way that these kids can fix with the parent that would never do this to them. But these people, no matter how many videos I make, no matter how compelling there are, these people are just pieces of human dog crap. And so it's very highly unfortunate. And they should, all their heads should definitely be rolling. Most of them, they've known the whole time, but they're just low, negligent people. You can find loads and loads and loads, it turns out, of pieces of human garbage to be involved in all matter of corruption and child abuse all over the place. It is so important for us to step out of these situations into nature, make that decision. No, I'm going to be the valiant dude against this. And that's, I guess, really all I have to say, but I guess I wanted to come up here and say it again. And just, I think those comments about where Childress is saying maybe be a little bit more reserved, I actually want to be remembered for the guy who's told the fucking truth, no matter how hard it was. In the Stranger Things through the TV, at the same way I'm still hoping and praying intently that this can remove this child who I do love and care about immensely and have always from this toxic environment and allow her this incredible experience. Now's a good time. Now's a good time, actually. I was about to be much further away, and I will be at some point much further away, but it looks like we're here for a minute. And it's a really easy, safe, but unfortunately, it takes strong men for evil not to prevail. And there's nothing but bitches up there. Anyway, I pray in the name of Jesus Christ for strength, character, honor, and truth to prevail in all of these situations, for all of these highly deceived young people who just have had the wool pulled so viciously over their eyes. And it's time. Links below to the Dr. Childress Anti-Alienation Project interview. Once again, such an important masterpiece interview of our time. Who